Hi everybody, today I'd like to talk to you about our new Jet City Amplification product we call the JCA20 Flex. It's a true 20 watt tube amp designed by the famous amp designer Michael Soldano. And keep in mind it's a true tube amp. It has full tube analog circuitry. The signal doesn't go through any kind of digital signal processing or any type of solid state type of amplifiers, so it's fully a tube amp. The difference really is that instead of using traditional analog pots, instead it uses digitally controlled pots on the front panel. So one of the first things you'll notice about this amp is that it has all the standard controls you'd expect to find on any kind of tube amp. So you have your gain, your bass, treble, gain, bass, mid, treble, master, and presence control. The unique control here is the preset control, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But every control, it just operates as you'd expect. What you see is that as you change the control, the digital bar display on top increases or decreases relative to the strength of that particular control. At the same time, if you notice, as you change over on this side, you'll see the exact number. So temporarily the preset number goes away, and instead you see the exact control value that you're turning on this side. So that's true for all the different controls on this amp. Now there's a couple of push buttons on this as well. So these controls also contain push buttons. So for example, the gain control, if you press that, it changes to a different preamp configuration. So this amp has 3 different preamp configurations built in. Clean, crunch, and overdrive. Again, all designed by Michael Soldano. So you can change, you see that as you change from green is the clean, yellow is the crunch, and then red is the overdrive channel. So that's one of the controls. In addition, there's the treble control. If you press the treble control, it kicks in a buffered effects loop. So that turns on, there's an effects loop built in, so you can control whether that effects loop is engaged or not by pressing this knob. In addition, the presence knob, you can press that as well, and that goes into kind of a system mode. And what that is you have now on this knob your MIDI channel number, and I'll talk about MIDI in a minute. Sorry. And you also have a control over your master volume. So let's say you're playing at a gig and you have all of your controls set up, all your presets are configured, but you want to turn the volume down a little bit for the particular venue you're playing. You can use this control to actually control your overall master volume, and then you press presence again and you go back to normal operation. As I mentioned earlier, one of the unique features of this amp is that you can store your presets into 30 different preset locations, which are controlled by this knob. So basically what you do is once you set up your controls the way you want them, the preset will store everything, including the channel, the preamp channel type, all of your control settings, your effects loop. They'll all be stored into the preset. And so what you do is, if you want to store something, you press the preset button, which will start flashing, telling you it's ready to save that preset. If you change your mind and don't want to save that preset, you simply turn the knob and it won't save that preset. If you want to save it, you press the button once and then press it again, and now all of your controls will be saved in that particular preset location. Okay, so the back of the amp is very familiar as well, I would guess, to most people. You see you have your standard speaker jacks, so you have 8 ohm, 16 ohm jacks for different impedance speaker combinations. You have your effects loops, send and return jacks as well. And then there's a foot switch jack. This is actually a stereo jack. You can use a standard foot switch, like a mono type of jack in this, if you just want to scroll up through the presets. And when it reaches preset 30, it'll simply rotate back to preset 1. But if you want to use it, if you use a stereo jack here, you can actually use the included foot switch that has both an up and down foot switch button, allowing you to scroll up and down through the presets by using a foot switch. In addition, there's a MIDI input shown here. So the MIDI input, as we showed earlier, you can set the MIDI channel by using the system menu we showed on the front a little while ago. The MIDI input can control all of the presets as well, so you can randomly select any preset using a MIDI program change message, or you can use MIDI CC messages and basically control any parameter, including the preamp channel, the effects loop, all of the controls on the front. So that's basically it. I'd like to thank you for listening, and this is a new product. Will be on the market shortly, and you can almost think of it as a 30-channel Soldano designed 20-watt guitar amp. Thanks a lot.